Picture the scene. You're playing Ark Raiders near the end of a very successful loot run, but you hear footsteps. Somebody is coming. Do they know you're here? You realise you've forgotten to swap your grenades into your quick select bar. Can you open the inventory to do it? Or will they hear you? Today we'll be going through various sounds in Ark Raiders and their audibility distances so that you can better plan your flanks, escapes and repositionings. And thankfully, this game doesn't have multiple headsets, which makes things a hell of a lot easier. Let's begin with the real basics of sprinting, which is how most players are moving most of the time, unless they expect to fight, as it's the fastest way to get around the map so long as you've got some stamina. You can hear sprinting all the way out to about 50 meters for other players. Unfortunately, the game includes the distance on the ping so that we can tell exactly what range it is. Okay, so go back again. Run forwards. Stop there. Yes, it was back where you were just a minute ago. I do want to point out that there is a night mode in the audio settings, and I am using it because this brings a level of compression to the soundscape. Different players seem to feel differently about it, and I haven't specifically tested the night mode itself yet. However, normally what these do is bring up quieter sounds and decrease louder sounds. Depending on the situation, this can be an advantage or a disadvantage. So for example, it can boost background audio depending on how it's configured, and when you turn it on, you do hear an immediate increase in volume generally. But I personally prefer to have loud sounds be quieter in my games, which is why I've turned it on for the moment. So with sprinting at 50 meters, which actually isn't all that far, next we have running, which is the default move speed when you go forwards, which is a bit shorter at 43 meters. Oh, there you go. Go back a bit. The main difference between this and sprinting is that although you can hear it at a closer range, the sound that running makes itself is also quieter overall. Caveats from night mode aside, do not underestimate the amount of background audio in Ark Raiders in general, as there are plenty of moments where you really can't hear much, especially as far as the Ark mini-bosses are concerned. These guys, like the Bastion, Bombardier and the Leaper, play audio over a really long range, much longer than you'd expect, which is honestly just good game design so you don't accidentally run into them face first, but if they are anywhere near you, the constant background noise hides a lot of quieter sounds. Let me see if this Bastion goes away, because it's like really loud. These audio ranges then are just the theoretical maximum distances, not what you'll definitely hear in all circumstances. Walking then, which is when you're using the slow movement modifier key, comes out at 28 meters, which is pretty good if you're looking to be stealthy. There we go, I can hear you there. Go back a little bit. The sound level is lower still, so boosting the sound up, you might technically still be able to hear it a little bit further than this, but the level is so close to the ambient sound outdoors that it's barely audible, even when boosting the volume by 35 decibels or so. To round up regular movement, the last two are crouch and the slow crouch. Stop. Yeah, a little bit further back than that. Seems about the same. Stop there. These were hard to figure out exactly as well, and it's going to depend on the situation, but I could hear them up to about 30 meters for crouching and 28 meters for slow crouching, sounding about the same as slow walking. Whether this changes in different places with lower ambient sound, such as inside, I'm not totally sure at this stage, but most player fights where sound range is your first encounter with someone typically happen in outdoor areas, as inside you normally hear gunshots or looting or arc before hearing their steps. A couple of other movement sound ranges before we move on are sliding and jumping. Sometimes sliding is the single fastest way to get where you're going, and this can be heard from further than running at about 60 meters. I can hear that. Finally, jumping appears to be the loudest player movement in the game, with the foot landing sound playing out to 80 meters, so do be careful of this one. Yes. Yeah, I can still hear that. Interestingly, this is the same mechanic as in Tarkov. So now that we've covered the basics, let's move on to some other really important combat-related sounds, such as aiming. The act of raising your weapon to get an improved crosshair bloom plays an audio cue, and this might differ per weapon. Yes, you can. Interesting, okay. Yeah, I can hear you doing that. Can't hear you now. Just about. It's like right on the edge of audibility, but you can actually hear it. For this testing, my partner here was using a rattler, and this could be heard from about 28 meters away, similar to the crouch and walking audio ranges. One that was very interesting was the inventory sound. This makes a very specific audio cue in EFT, but to my surprise, there isn't one in Ark Raiders from an outsider's perspective. Nope. Are you going in and out of your inventory? It makes no sound at all. So other players cannot tell when you move in and out of your own inventory. Following on from combat, what happens then if you need to retreat and heal? Surprisingly, these healing actions are extremely clear. I can hear it begin, yeah. Okay, I can hear it start. So. I could hear the bandage healing audio from a massive 60 meters away, and the shield recharger from an even greater 70 meters. Yeah, I can hear it now. So what's that? Just about. It's a long way. I think it helps that these ones have very specific audio profiles, so they are noticeable over the background more so than other types of sound like movement. Now, related to this, one thing that I did notice is bushes and foliage do make some noise when you go through them. From testing, it seems like they don't increase the range at which you can actually hear people, but similar to the medical sounds, they make a cracking branches noise, which are really obvious and much more obvious than movement. So try and go through the other bit. I think the foliage might be loud. However, they are also really inconsistent at the same time. Not all of the bushes make any sound at all, and sometimes you can't even see them from the other player's perspective over 50 meters away. Wait, I can't even see a bush. Oh, I see, and that is with high graphics settings, so you can't trust bushes either for sound or for vision. As a little stretch test, I wanted to see just how far away we could hear a gunshot from. The answer is a really, really long way. In the future, I'd love to check what suppressors actually do, because even a 50% decrease in volume isn't going to do anything meaningful based on the results here. Yeah, I still hear you. Can you hear me? I'm using the kettle. A rattler was still audible from nearly 600 meters away. It wasn't super loud by any means, but you could still hear it going off. And just for context, that is pretty much 50% across the entirety of the spaceport map, which is a fairly large area. My friend confirmed that they could hear my kettle at 500 meters as well, which I was surprised with, as I figured this gun would be a lot quieter than the rattler, but there you go. As a little bonus, given the time was ending, we went to the spaceport tower to have a look at the Ark orbiter wiping us off the face of the Earth. Was that it? Here it is. Nothing seems particularly special about it, other than some kind of orbital bombardment to destroy those stragglers left over, and the zero timer one even hit the towers directly, killing us both. Oh, there's something coming in here. Oh, I see. Oh yeah, you just get hit by a huge missile. Interesting. Here's the final rundown of all the audio that was mentioned in this video. I would just say again, remember that this is a practical maximum based on my own audio settings, and it might differ for you, but it should give you a good idea of the relationship between the different sounds. If you have your sound louder than mine, you'll probably be able to hear things a little bit further, and if you have it lower than mine, you probably won't be able to hear things quite as far. But I hope that this has given you some insight into the audio ranges to keep in mind for your next expedition topside. As usual, a big shout out to all my patrons, and as always, have fun in your raids.